You're listening to the After the Show Movie Podcast from Ascully.com, your weekly look at movies, video games, and more, brought to you by your hosts, Ascully and Sid Talk. We're addicted to movies. Are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody.
What are you doing? A little Truman Show?
Covering all the bases.
Homage there?
Yeah, also that. And covering all the bases. And good morning, Vietnam as well. I'll do that one too.
Yeah, I think you have to. You can't do that unless you're going to do it, and then don't do it because, like, he's gone and, you know.
It's all very sad.
Just erase that part when you edit it out.
No.
Before the After the Show discussion was? I don't remember. It's been like a minute.
You were talking about stuff. It was news, local news.
Oh, where's that? Terrible, terrible news.
Yeah.
And just how fucked up everything is sometimes in people.
Correct.
It's a really cheery after the show. That's life, everybody. We don't just talk about pleasant things, which will lead you into this movie. One of the themes is to just really pleasantly talk about shit when, like, the world is literally falling apart.
Correct. So it is Saturday, January the 8th. This is After the Show 718. We're a movie review podcast, and every week we look at a new movie. This week we're looking at the movie Don't Look Up. It's a 2021 movie. It's actually released now on Netflix, so you can stream this. It's also in select theaters. It's rated R, and our friends at Netflix let us watch it. What do you think, Sid Talk, and what is your synopsis?
What do you think about the movie?
Synopsis first, I reckon.
Synopsis. I was going to say, you're trying to trick me. That's a trap. It's a trap. Synopsis. It's Chicken Little. And the boy who cried wolf-ish, or perceived as
Is
such.
it?
But it isn't, right? It is someone's telling you the world is falling apart, something terrible is going to happen, and no one really believes it. And we're all so effed up that we can't.
I'll give you the one off the box.
Is that not what's on the box?
On the box it says, 2 low-level astronomers, say that without your teeth in,
2 low-level astronomers
must go on a giant media tour to warn mankind of an approaching comet that will destroy planet Earth. That's exactly what the movie is.
That's better than mine. I'll accept that.
All right, so Don't Look Up. Sid Talk, what did you think?
I loved it.
The end.
I mean, I get it. I can imagine what your 1-star reviews are going to be like when you get.
It will be polarizing, this movie.
It will be polarizing, and I can hear the voices. I can hear it right now. I know what they're going to say, right? That it's left-wing propaganda. But in fact, if you're really watching closely and you're objective, it's essentially like a comet's going to come and blow up the Earth, right? So you hit the people who need to know with this news, and no one handles it right. And so you've got this commentary on how super, and we're going to describe them as this because that's how the world seems to describe people, super right-wing people, deal with it, and how the super left-wing people deal with it, the media, social media, the population, all of it. And it's all there. If you consider yourself or identify with any one of those specific ways of thinking, you might feel attacked. Would you say some people might feel a little bit attacked?
A lot attacked, some of them.
But in fact, it's really across the board. I mean, the messaging is very specific to me. The world is going to end. And here's the evidence, right? We have evidence.
Yep.
Now, at that point, as 8 billion people on the planet, some people might choose to believe it. Some people might choose not to. And that, to me, is like, I mean, that's it, right? That's the reality of it. But all the people want to do is to let you know. And then is there something we can do to mitigate the situation? And if not, then we're dead, right? That's it. That's very simple. Yeah. But we love to complicate shit, right? With our ideas and our stupidity and our closed-mindedness and our short-sightedness, and with everything that we gobble up, around us in culture and media and everything, and we just vomit it all back out constantly. That's kind of one of the messages, that none of these people seem real, right? The president doesn't seem like a real person. And I don't mean in a way that's exaggerated for the movie, which it is, but I also see her and I think, oh, that's almost realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. When you say they don't seem
It's
like a real
scary.
person, they do seem like a real person.
Right, but I mean, they're exaggerated.
Like a
but
clown
then,
person.
Yes, but
Yeah.
we have now been acclimated to the idea that people of all sorts, I'm not picking on anybody, so don't get anybody all pissy and weird and shit. I'm just saying people of all sorts kind of populate the planet, and some people, you're like, you are manufactured. You are literally manufactured like a Barbie doll. Someone has created your head and your body and your look and your style, and they plugged you all together, or like a Lego character, whatever you want to think of it as. Like, you've been created by someone else. Therefore,
Yeah.
you don't exist. Like, you actually don't exist, these people, but they do. And in life, the more we look around, the more you're like, oh, they really do.
Now, I liked how this movie was structured, because it's structured in like the way a movie like Armageddon, which deals with the same subject, would be, yet it's not an action movie. It's more it's a drama and a satire within that kind of framework. Because it sets it up, right from the very beginning. You know the comet, not asteroid, is coming. It's not like it might come or it might miss us or something. It's coming and it's going to smash, right?
Right. And
it's
that's 100% what they're
100%
saying.
laid out.
Yeah, they made it very clear. There's no question about this. And yet, people...
And then we go through the phases, like we tell the people in charge. The people in charge kind of deny it for a little bit and try and figure it out to make themselves look good. Then eventually it gets out to the world. There's kind of it's not really a panic, is it, in this movie at first? It's more of half of people don't believe in it.
Yeah.
And the slogan, "Don't look up," is
that's
actually
eventual.
a slogan.
That's the eventual payoff for all of this.
Right.
The scientists are telling the president she wants to handle it in a way that makes sure she gets very popular in the public, and she also doesn't believe in it. The social media people just make it out. The two polarizing things, of course, like, it's fake or we're all doomed. The people in the media, the only reason like the newspaper cares is that they aren't getting much like movement on the story, so they're going to drop it. The Happy Morning Show or whatever that is, they just want to exploit like the dumbest parts of it, like how cute the scientist is and shit like that.
Yeah, it's like Good Morning America.
Right. So all that's kind of fodder for the gristmill of this whole situation. And the payoff is the slogan. The lady who discovered it in the first place goes on social media and says, just look up, like look at the sky. You can literally see it now. Like, and then everybody starts looking up. But the people who
don't want to know,
the people who want to profit from it, the people who want to spin it and like they're like, don't look up, just look down, just look straight ahead. Don't look up, because they want you to be afraid of it and all this stuff. It's like,
it's very realistic.
It really is, like, when you think about it, like, holy crap.
The way it plays out, even though it's a bit goofy and silly, I could really see it in real life. Like, I was looking at it all the time going, like when you watch Armageddon with Bruce Willis and you're like, oh, come on. This one's more like, oh, yeah, that's probably...
yeah. Is this as exaggerated as you're going to get? Because...
There's a guy in this movie who's supposed to be like a Apple guy. Let's say Steve Jobs. Let's say he's similar to that.
I think he's a combination of Elon Musk.
Elon, yeah.
What's his face? Bezos.
Zuckerberg
and
Steve Jobs.
Apple, and I think probably also his face.
You've got this
Microsoft
character
guy
who's like infinitely rich, who can like do something about this possibly, and he does a bunch of stuff. I guess he's like Elon more, isn't he? Because Elon's got the space thing,
and then he's combining the technology of this phone that can literally read your moods and predict your death because it knows so much about you,
which is like pretty much what Apple are doing.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to combine the idea of a rich person. I'm not saying they don't have credibility. The whole world giving them credibility for being rich.
Right.
And for being able to make things happen, right? You can make a lot of things happen when you've got a lot of money. That doesn't mean anything if what you're making happen is a bunch of bullshit.
But they even take the route of like, this guy is like, well, we could do this, with my spaceships. Again, he wants to do it for monetary reasons.
Correct.
Because they do figure out in this movie, and I said to you, are they going to send Bruce Willis up to drill into the comet?
You wish.
And then there was a section of the movie where the guy's like, Well, guess what? The comet's actually made of lots of valuable materials. So we could send one of my drones to drill it. And I was like, wow.
Were you really excited at that point?
Armageddon is coming full circle in a comedy movie. Even though you could say Armageddon's a comedy movie, looking at it, right?
Oh, of course.
It is quite
maybe people don't understand that you are very fond of Armageddon.
That's why I was thrilled with this movie when it started. I was like, okay, the setup to this movie, the opening sequence where she's looking in the telescope, which is almost the beginning of Armageddon as well, if you remember.
Yep.
She looks up in the telescope and she goes, oh, and she can see it. And then, it starts just like Armageddon does. I was like, wow, this is cool. But I'm not expecting a big special effects extravaganza. But guess what? You get some of that as well in this movie.
For sure.
I wasn't expecting any of that. I was thinking it was going to be more, excuse the pun, grounded, about people in politics talking about things. So I didn't expect the action-packed CGI parts of this movie, which there are quite a few. I'll say now, I really loved it. It's my sense of humor, exactly.
Definitely.
Adam McKay, who directed this, he also directed Anchorman and Step Brothers, which are nothing like this movie. Those are funny in their own right, debatably. You might debate me on that. But this is not that. But it does have that biting sense of humor to it, where you just, I don't know, I've got my head in my hands a lot.
Yes, you get that I'm so disappointed in people. Yeah, and then humanity, you're funny at the same time.
There's things that come out of people's mouths where you go, oh, that's so terrible and sad, but yeah, of course that person would say that.
Of course, that's hilarious.
In real life, the president would come out and say that. I could just see it, just to make themselves look better in the massive crisis where everybody's going to die. Well, they've got to save some face a little bit.
Absolutely.
And you're like, oh, yeah, of course they would do that. Leonardo DiCaprio's character, how he starts off as this one thing. He's just a scientist, astronomer, as he would put it, because they keep referring to him as the wrong thing, don't they?
Yeah.
He's got problems, anxiety problems and stuff. And then the media kind of get hold of him, and he starts to become more suave as he goes through it.
A little bit, yeah.
You can notice it in small chunks. You're like, oh, now he's not wearing the glasses as much. And he's trying to show his eyes off on the TV there.
Exactly.
And his suit's a little bit sharper now.
And they trimmed his beard up. And
it's gradual. And he's got this change, but he's like a change back and forward as well, isn't it? With his character. He's going one way, the way of the media and trying to look cool and all that. But then he's also going back the other way towards the end of the movie. So there's a lot of subtle stuff. And then there's a lot of really not subtle stuff, really out there kind of crazy satire, like the Ariana Grande thing. And because it really covers a lot of different aspects of the way media would cover things, including if they tell you tomorrow the comet's going to hit the Earth, let's say it's Ariana Grande, has split up with a boyfriend, people seem to be more interested in the split up with the boyfriend.
Correct.
They don't have to think really hard about it. There's a lot of that in this movie where you look at it and you go, I can't even argue with the point you're making. That is what would happen.
Yes. Yes.
Even though you're trying to be funny, it's exactly, we're kind of dopey. I'm not putting myself in there. I'm obviously much better than everybody.
Obviously. Me either. I'm amazing.
But as a species, we're a bit dopey.
He says with
this will be polarizing because some people will feel attacked and some people will feel like me. This is spot on. This is it. This is what people should know about themselves.
But they won't.
But they won't. No.
And then, I have to think okay, so where am I? What am I? What are my idiocracies, right? Because that's what we're talking about here.
Actually,
Idiocracy.
That movie is in direct comparison to this movie. I'd watch them as a double bill.
Absolutely.
They really do fit together. This is the new version of Idiocracy.
But you can't learn unless you accept that you're one of the people of the world, right? So I can't just look at everybody else and be like, oh my God, everybody's a stupid idiot. I'm perfect. Because I'm not.
I look at it that way.
That I'm an idiot?
No.
Careful.
We're fine.
We're fine.
Everybody else. Not you listeners. You're fine too.
We're all fine. Oh, we're all fine.
Yeah, we're all good. We're all good, apart from those other ones. You know, the ones that are not listening to this? Those ones.
Actually, I have many things to work on.
Yes, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
So I really enjoyed the satire aspect of it. I know some people will think it's like overdone or whatever, but I didn't find that. Every single character, when they introduce you to a new character, I'm like, is this an ordinary person who's got like some sense? And I'm like, no, they're an idiot. And I love little things in this movie, like that general guy who...
Yes, oh my God. And that she fixates on it. They take them to the White House right after they find out or figure out, there's a comet coming. They go to the White House. Then they're making them wait for like hours and hours and hours on this very self-absorbed president lady. Well, there's a general guy who's waiting with them. He goes, gets them like a little bag of chips or crackers and a bottle of water and says, well, this stuff costs a lot here. So $10 ought to do it for a little bag of chips or crackers and water. So they each give him $10. Later, she's in the snack room and says to the lady, where do I pay for these? And the lady's like, this is the White House. They're free. And for the rest of the movie, Jennifer Lawrence's character is like, why would a general charge us for snacks that are free?
Yeah,
and then she's like trying to figure him out.
Like why does he need $30?
Yeah, exactly. Why is he trying to... I love it when she brings it up, because that is also a thing about people, right? Repetition and figuring shit out and how things are like on loop in your mind. Good things, terrible things, questions that you have. I just feel like that was a brilliant pickup on how we approach things. I loved it.
I also like how she says, and he knew that I'd find out that it was free. So it was like a power move against me.
Is it a power trip he's on?
And then she tells it to the Timothée Chalamet character. And he says, oh, men are really weird.
Yeah, kids are weird. And she's like, oh.
But yeah, there's lots of little things like that where I was like, that's a really cool little detail to put in.
It was. I loved it.
That's what makes the movie funnier. As it was going along, I was like, surely they can't get funnier than that. And then they go on the morning show, and I'm like, the morning show's so vapid anyway. We've seen morning shows before, right? English morning shows, they're really vapid, right?
I think they all are.
American
I think if you
ones.
I've watched ones from Mexico. I cannot even speak Spanish, but I watched them on like Mexican television.
It just seems the same.
It's exactly the same. I can guess what they're saying by the pictures they show and their attitude and their like big bright smiles. But that's what I was saying earlier. Leonardo DiCaprio's character saying to them, we don't need to tell people this like in a pleasant way. The world is ending.
Yeah.
We don't have to be funny and jokey and make it sound nice, right?
Which is also a commentary on the movie and all kinds of different things.
What happens near the end? The people who have accepted the fate, all they want to do is talk about nice things, including Leonardo DiCaprio's character. So I thought that was a really nice touch. Also.
Actually, some spoilers. If you go and watch this film, I say. Yeah. No, because it's really good.
Go
watch it.
We'll wait.
We'll wait. And now this is a spoiler. And I thought the ending was very powerful. I was kind of moved by it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
They sat around a dinner table. The world's going to end. I mean, we're not talking about it might not end. It's going to end.
Maybe. It's, yeah.
And they sat around a dinner table, and the way it was seen, they're just talking about ordinary stuff with each other.
Like the best day they've had.
Yeah, and like what tastes really good. And the last words that Leonardo says is, we have everything, don't we?
We really did have everything. Well, idiots.
And then everybody dies.
Idiots.
And it's a ballsy, I love the ending. It hits, and we're all dead. Maybe. I mean, we're all dead. And,
we're dead, man. We're all dead.
And that's also an ending that some people can't take, right?
Yeah, I loved it. I love that it's,
About the polarizing thing, though. Some people can't take that kind of ending. Like, it's too much for them. Like, oh, we didn't get saved by the nice...
whatever.
Guy with his spaceships?
Yeah. The powerful governments of the world who want to save us all?
No, we did not.
You know why? Because the governments of the world, from dictator to presidents to kings to whoever the fuck they are, they're all just people right? They were children shitting in their pants at one point, and then they were taught stuff, and then they accumulated some things, and then they came to some conclusions, gathered up some followers who, for whatever reason, through intimidation or inspiration or manipulation, become a person in power. And they're still a person who used to shit in their pants when they were a child.
Delicious.
They had to learn how to eat with a fork or whatever the fuck they eat with. They're the same people who sit on a toilet every day and still take a shit and eat food and dribble down their chin and slobber in their sleep and snore and can't get an erection or can't have a whatever. They're all just people.
That's a lot of explanation there.
Well, what I mean is, by seeing her, like Meryl Streep doing this president who she's just a social media trampy kind of a person, right? Like, I don't know what a gender neutral term for that would be. Well, trampy, like she's sucking up the attention and the hits and the likes and the points and all that. She
sucks, let's say.
She sucks really bad. And the thing is, I don't hold any actual politician to a higher standard because they're just people. Exactly. Just like me and you, right? Me and you and I, we're a little bit smarter, but that's beside the point. But people need to be reminded there's no... That was one of the things I just really liked about it, was that it pointed out...
That's a good point you made there.
Kind of. Was it? No. Okay, let's do a quiz. What was the point I was trying to make?
I have no idea. Don't look up.
I can accept that. That's not correct, but okay.
All right, let's move on to the cast. Leonardo Dicaprio plays Dr. Randall Mindy. How do you like Leo?
I liked him a lot. I always do. I mean, I'm not a Leo hater.
I find Leo to be a pro at what he does, acting.
Absolutely.
Whatever he puts himself into.
He's a pro at acting.
Yeah, he's a pro actor. Like a pro athlete? He's like a pro actor. He does not play Leo DiCaprio in this. He's quite a different kind of guy.
Well, I feel like he is. Because he's very stressed out about environmental issues things like that.
There are times where he breaks into, like, environmentalist Leonardo DiCaprio.
Where you feel like this isn't acting anymore.
And you know what? I'm not mad because it really feels passionate.
Yeah.
So that's good. Jennifer Lawrence plays Kate Dibiasky.
Yeah.
They named the comet after her, basically. So what do you think of Jennifer?
I thought she was absolutely excellent. I loved every second of it.
I think it might be one of the best roles I've seen her in.
Because I feel like I'm her. You're in the White House. People are trying to sell you on all this bullshit ideas. Some people suck it up and kiss ass and they're just like buying into whatever a person of a higher quote unquote position would say to them. And she's just constantly looking at people like, are you serious? Are you fucking kidding me? And then looking around at people who are supposed to be more sensible and they're all just buying into it. And she's the odd person out. She never relents. She never gives up. She doesn't have like the arc thing that we talk about with characters. DiCaprio's character, he's like the nervous guy and then he gets a little bit more suave and then he wants to come back to home base, and kind of be himself again. She's just the same.
Yeah, she is.
She's figured out a true thing about the world, and she's just in awe of how everyone is dealing with it. She has no power to fix it or change it, so she's just sort of like, wow.
Meryl Streep as President Orlean. She also is a pair with Jonah Hill as Jason Orlean, her son. And her son's like a press secretary.
Oh, he's a dick and a half. Oh my God.
I thought he played it just right.
He played it just right. I hate him. So there you go. Yeah. I'm not a Jonah Hill fan anymore.
It's very funny though, the way because some of the stuff he says again is like, you're like, I swear I've seen real people say that. Like,
and
he's
really,
trying to be cool.
And really hateful. Like he's super hateful to her. Like she comes to the White House within hours of discovering this comet. She comes straight from work. Then they throw him on a plane in the back of one of those big cargo planes. Then they show up in the White House. Then they're waiting 7 hours. Then they send him to a cheap hotel. And now she's here. And he's like, does this really fucking sarcastic fist bump where he's like, thanks for dressing up.
Yeah.
Because like she's meeting the president, right? And I was like, oh, I know that guy. Ew. Ew. I like sarcasm. But not like, ugh.
One of my favorite lines from him is he looks at her and he goes, who the hell are you, girl with the dragon tattoo?
Yeah, exactly.
Because she's kind of a bit, she's got an earring and a nose and stuff, But yeah, it's very good. Meryl Streep as well. It's kind of hamming it up, but she's really good at it.
Hamming it up, but totally acceptable levels.
Yeah. Kate Blanchett plays Bree Evante. Now, she's the morning show anchor. What did you think of her?
Oh, she was amazing as well. I mean, exactly the same character throughout. She's like the vapid, but not vapid, because we find out she has 3 master's degrees. She's intelligent. She's the person on the little chat show on the TV, and she's
not vapid. She plays the game.
She does, and also everything bores her, and she's just, I mean, ugh.
Again,
but she was great
and very funny. It's funny, her character, because she's always they're trying to be serious on the show, and she's trying to just make it light. How do you have a light segment about the end of the world?
Right, but then she falls for the science guy, and she's like, I actually kind of like you, and I despise most people.
Yeah.
So, there's something there.
We've got...
but she was great.
Timothy Chalamet. I was going to say Shamalama Ding Dong. He plays Yule. Timothy turns up later in the movie. He's a love interest of our Jennifer Lawrence. Like
Oh, Jennifer.
I liked him too, because it's an interesting character to come in at that point.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
It does something to Jennifer Lawrence's character that you're not quite expecting at that time. You see a different side of her.
She kind of gives up because she's tried. And then the end, when they're saying what they're all grateful for around the table, like when the end is coming, she's like, I'm grateful that we tried. You know? And at the point that she meets this guy, he's like a skater dude.
Yeah.
She's just like, fuck it. I mean, we're all going to die. So
he's also very funny. That sequence where he's talking in the supermarket is really funny.
Yes.
And then we've got Hamish Patel, who we know from EastEnders. Probably, but we're the only people who know him. He was the star
We're not the only people who watch EastEnders.
He was the star of the movie Yesterday, Danny Boyle's movie.
Yesterday.
Now, he doesn't have a big part in this, but he does have like a pivotal thing, because he's, again, it's kind of asshole-ish.
Yeah.
You said everybody in this movie is pretty much an asshole. Most of them. Most of them.
You get a taste of, the only person that I kind of hang with the whole time is Jennifer Lawrence, because she never gives in to the idiocracy part of it. So I respect her the most.
And then finally, Mark Rylance plays Peter, who's the tech guy, Elon Musk, let's say.
He was really funny.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I liked him, but he was really bizarrely, weird and stuff.
In Ready Player One, the character he plays in that, it's pretty much the same character.
True.
It's kind of meek a little bit, but
True.
The way he presents himself. Peter Isherwell, that guy was called. This is directed by Adam McKay. He's famous for Step Brothers, Anchorman, some other movies. You know that he got Oscar for him. You know which movie I'm talking about?
Not Step Brothers.
The Big Short. It was Christian Bale, Steve Carell, Ryan Gosling, and it was about stock trading. We didn't watch it actually, but
right.
And he also did a movie called Vice, which was another Oscar contender. And this isn't like a goofy comedy like Step Brothers.
No,
it's more of a satire. So, what did you think of his directing here?
I think that he got the most out of all the people, and there's a lot of people. And in the editing process, it was all still there, very vibrantly put together. And I feel like the director, he had a vision. Sometimes you can just feel this is what this person wanted to get across.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was successful.
And it's substantial, 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was never bored. It's always moving. You're like, oh my, what is going to happen next? All the time.
Yes.
Is this really going to happen? Or I had it in my mind from the beginning. I think this is going to happen because they're telling us it is, right? But then they're saying, when they tell the president, it's 99 point something going to happen. And she's like, can we just move that down to 70?
Yeah, so it's called 70. Yeah. So then, so they bullshit us about everything.
It doesn't sound good if we go on telling everybody it's
yeah.
So IMDb reviews, what are those?
Reviews on a website called IMDb. That is the Internet Movie Database. And you like to find the 1 stars because those are people who take the time of their life. Not like us, who take the time of our life to do an entire podcast, which is full of great and wonderful, obviously, information from us. They just type out, "Oh, this movie was a waste of my time." With no capital letters, no punctuation.
All right.
But they watched it all.
Yep.
And then they took the time of their life, precious time, while potentially there is a comet headed our way for some time future. And they're still doing that.
All right.
I find that very commendable.
So these are your 1-star reviews, and here's a couple of them. The first guy says, "Before I even start this review, I'm willing to start a crowdfunding campaign to hire a hitman to get rid of Jonah Hill. For God's sake, why is somebody still hiring this idiot? He was never funny and will never be." Okay, I'll keep the review short. It's garbage. It's got nothing to do with comedy or satire. It doesn't even make you laugh. It's annoying and bad. Not even Dicaprio, who is one of my favourites, and Jennifer from Hunger Games. I've never heard of that, though. They couldn't even save it.
He's never heard of Hunger Games.
No.
Okay. I mean, this is a more thoughtful... They're giving you more information, at least.
I mean,
I'm into that.
Yeah. All right, this one. Does this movie show the stupidity of these days or the emptiness of our future? It's a total fail. That's almost the point.
Yeah, I feel like you actually nailed it, and that if it did that successfully, then it was good. But hey.
Netflix did it again. Garbage movie promoting mixed couples and cigarettes at the end of the world. Not funny.
Mixed couples.
I don't see mixed couples at all. So maybe there are some in this movie. I don't know. But who cares? That's why I don't see
Is it
them.
because she's white and Hamish Patel is Indian?
Oh, yeah, that must be
India?
that must be the one.
Oh, my word.
Yeah. The people who wrote the reviews on IMDb are the people this movie
isn't for, but is about.
Yeah. So there you go. No extras because we watched it on streaming, but scores I'm going to give, controversially,
Don't
Look Up, a 9 out of 10.
What? That is controversial even for me. Holy crap.
I really loved it.
I know, I can tell.
I could watch it again, actually. That's how much I liked it.
I liked it a lot, but I'm giving it a solid, 7.2.
Nice. Well,
because I understand that it's got a heavy message. I mean, we are being preached at, right? Heavily. So It's a very self-serving kind of a story. Also, getting all of the famous people to do their bit, it's a little bit aggrandizing, right, for Hollywood, and that they know better than everyone else. You feel the vibe, and I'm not hating on it, I'm just saying. So that kind of lowers it a little. It's very overt, If they really wanted it to be hit home, powerful, could have had a little more on the destruction side and not cap everything with a joke.
Right.
So that every one of those little things knocks it down a little bit.
All right. So I'm giving it a 9 out of 10.
Oh, you
Screw
are.
you.
Thanks.
All right. So movie recommendations based off this. You already know what mine are going to be. They're going to be Armageddon and Deep Impact, my 2 favorite asteroid/comet movies.
You love your Armageddon.
And yours are?
Because I've gone back to the 90s and I'm trying to squeeze as many in as I can in 2022. Here they are. Cadillac Man with, what's his face? You know who?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams and Tim, whatever his name is. Total Recall. That's a cool one. Days of Thunder. There you go. There's a little bit of Tom in there for you. We've got Tom and Leo. Die Hard 2. I don't know if it was it as good as Die Hard 1? I don't know.
It was equally as good, yes.
Oh, very nice. Quick Change, which is Bill Murray and a couple other famous people, about a clown and a bank robbery. You might like Quick Change.
I've seen it.
And that's it. That's my 5. Cadillac Man, Total Recall, Days of Thunder, Die Hard 2, and Quick Change.
Days of Thunder.
I was going to say Burger King, but Burger King's not a movie. That is for the next segment. That's what we're having for supper.
Days of Thunder is Top Gun, but on a racetrack.
Correct.
It's just the same movie.
Correct.
And it's very good. I like it. I don't like it better than Top Gun, though. I prefer the planes. All right, Ascully stuff. I've been playing a video game. Sid Talk bought me this video game for Christmas. Thank you, Sid Talk.
Sure. Anytime.
Called Far Cry 6. It's a PlayStation 5 game. And it stars... I can't remember the guy's name. Let's just call him Chicken Man. from Breaking Bad.
Because that's what he is in Breaking Bad.
Giancarlo Esposito. Is that right?
Esperanto? I don't know. I'm not looking at his name.
He's also from... I'm not looking at it either. I was digging that out of my
You're guessing.
arse. He's also from Mandalorian, remember?
Correct.
Far Cry is an open world game. Chicken Man there is a dictator in this paradise. And your ultimate aim is to take down the dictator and bring the country back to the people. By, what do you do to do that, Sid Talk?
Kill everybody?
Kill all the bad guys.
It's fascinating. As you can hear from the tone of my voice. It looks gorgeous, but I couldn't watch it for more than 5 minutes.
It is very gorgeous, yeah. It's one of the most gorgeous open worlds I've seen. And there's a lot to do in it. There's all kinds of things. Like, it's not all killing. There's like fishing and racing and... Don't ask me why you're doing fishing and racing during a political upheaval of a country, you know, where people are shooting at you every 2 minutes. But it does have things to take your mind off the shooting. But eventually, you know, the story is going to come to get you and you've got to take down this guy. And this guy, it's a massive map. He's also got like generals that you're going to have to go through the missions and take out all these generals before you get to him. If you've played, I mean, this is the 6th entry in the Far Cry series. If you're a video gamer, you've probably played a Far Cry game before. But I'll definitely say this is the best Far Cry game to date. I like the setting much better. You know, the last Far Cry, Sid Talk, number 5, it took place in America. And it was like a weird religious cult, the guy who was in charge. I didn't like that one as much. It was kind of boring to look at. It was like, let's say it's Missouri, the state that you're in.
This is not a boring place to be.
No, but the game itself was very flat and very uninteresting. This tropical paradise, what you're in this game, it has everything. You know, mountains, lovely beaches. It's like a giant vacation, but you kill people.
I still resent that you think Missouri is boring looking.
Well, let's say another boring state that's not Missouri.
There aren't any boring states. You're just talking about flatlands.
Yeah, it's just all the flatlands, basically.
Okay.
That's what it just seemed very like.
Well, check yourself.
I wanted to run up a mountain and jump off and that kind of thing, but you couldn't because there was none of that.
Right.
So Far Cry 6, best Far Cry game to date. It's out now. And we also watched some Boba Fett, and the second episode I found very, very cool. It was the backstory of the Tusken Raiders, which I've always wanted to know a bit more about them. And this show kind of covers that.
True.
There's also some cool Jabba the Hutt action. Not Jabba the Hutt, but you know what I'm saying. Hutt action.
Yeah.
So that was Boba Fett, and you've told us what's for dinner. So, Sita, what is your advice?
Here it is. It's not advice. It's just something into some of the... I should have had some of those hot shots before I started. Maybe it would clear up my brain. Speaking of brains, your brain is not like a one in, one out device, right? It's not like a hard drive that fills up and then you have to kind of pick and choose what you're going to delete if you want to keep something new. It isn't like that. You can like learn a thing in your life and have an idea and an opinion, a belief about a thing or whatever, a philosophy, and then learn something more. It doesn't have to replace what was there before. You don't have to like scrape out all the shit to put in some new shit. It's like you could say, you know what? Whatever your thing is, like, okay, maybe you totally, completely, 100% believe in a God, and you have a very specific God and religion, and that's it, and that's all there is to it. And every time you see a person who doesn't believe like you, it breaks your heart, and it crushes you, and you feel so bad, and you need to convert them, or you just feel like they're lost. And then someone comes along in your life, it could be anybody, someone you love very much, or a random comment or a thing that you read, and it's a person who doesn't believe what you believe, and then you're like, oh, well, they're okay.
Yeah.
But how do I have room in my brain but you're not okay if you don't believe what I believe. I can believe what I believe, and you can believe what you believe, and we can both be okay. And there's room for you to accept all of that. It isn't all or nothing. Now people go, oh, sure. So then you just want murderers to walk the street? That's okay. They'll come up with shit like that. Like, that's the comeback. Oh, it's okay to molest people? because it's just okay, whatever anybody wants to do. Like literally they'll go from what I've just said to those extremes because it sounds like I'm saying whatever anybody wants to do is totally fine and you just have to accept it. That's not what I'm saying. So don't go there with your bullshit. You cut out all that and it's just the day-to-day stuff. Like me being unreasonably judgmental about my nephew just recently. Within a 2-week period-ish, right? Gets a job, finds an apartment, bought a car, all online, sight unseen of all of these things, not having gone to an interview, not having looked at the car, not having gone to the place where the apartment is, and now is moving to a large city, a couple of hours away, just, that's it. My old-fashioned mind that has the one thing in it, like, oh, but you're supposed to, like, go look at this apartment, and you need to check out the car, and you need to test drive the car, right? And you need, these are all the things I've learned from other people and experience. That's fair. I have experience. I get it. But he did it a different way. And I have to make room to understand that I don't need to be condescending, go, that's okay too. No, it's the same. I 100% understand that there are different ways in life, not just because it's a new generation and I'm talking about technology specifically. But then I realized, how did I find you?
True.
On the old internet back in 1998 when everyone around me was like, you can't meet this person. This person's probably a serial killer because what had we all learned? And obviously I was the exception because I found you from
I actually am a serial killer. I'm just biding my time.
After 22 years. Well, at least give me like a few months after I retire to give me the pleasure of having retired and then just do whatever.
If you see me start dressing like Dexter, that's when you know it's going to happen.
In the tight gray shirt with black gloves, I will totally, yes, I will be on top of it. But even back then, people, you can't do that. And then you think, what have I learned? How have I learned to meet people? In bars, at a church, which I don't go to, at work, which is stupid. No offense to anyone who meets at work. And maybe it's fine and wonderful and beautiful. And I shouldn't even say that because I do know people who are very happy who met at work. But to me, because I like to keep that shit separate, right? Those aren't the only ways to meet people. And I had to overcome a little bit of prejudice about that with people saying you can't do that. Like you can't. Or in life, the choices I make, you can't do that. That's not how it's done. Well, there is a room in all of our brains for us to understand and accept, not tolerate, because that's really condescending, but like accept, like, hey, yeah, you did it that way. Cool. Maybe I can learn from you. It doesn't erase my life because I did it differently. It doesn't mean that me meeting you on the internet, I have to erase how much happiness that gives me because someone else met their spouse in a grocery store. Like, oh, I guess we should all meet everyone in grocery stores from now on. And that's the only thing I can think about. So I better erase everything else I've ever thought about. The end.
The end. Good advice, Sid Tuck. Well said.
Okay, quiz. What's the advice?
The advice is your brain is not a one-in, one-out device. It cannot get full like a hard drive or a garbage can.
You are reading that from the thing.
You can learn a thing and then learn another thing, even if they're conflicting ideas that you then need to think about some more.
He's reading what I wrote on the timeline so that I wouldn't forget my thing. So he's not. Do
I win on the quiz?
You cheated on the quiz. You've read the answer. So no, you get a big fat 0.
Thank you. So ascully.com is the website you can get this podcast. Twitter, Facebook is our social media. We're also on Instagram. We're all over that shit. You also go to anchor.fm/after the show, Spotify, iTunes, wherever podcasts are sold or free in this case. Email feedback to me, ascully@ascully.com. Do not email Sid Talk. She hates all of you
as individuals. That's not accurate. I hate you all as a group.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the opposite. No, I don't. I don't hate anybody because that's not reasonable.
And stay classy, everybody involved in this movie, because it was a fun ride.
It was fun. And I'm going to say, think for yourselves, because if you're not doing it, clearly someone can do it for you.